Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and today I just got to talk about this video. I have to talk about it. I already made an initial tweet about this yesterday, I think, and this is the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser. They gave an early look, which is a little 2-minute teaser, a little walkthrough, kind of like, here's some things you'll be able to see, and then they also gave a look at the lightsaber training, which we will also talk about. Let me just say this. I have not felt virtually all sides of the Star Wars fandom all united in one singular opinion in a while. Okay? Because, you know, obviously here on YouTube we have that whole faction of the fandom that will hate on anything Disney, anything new, anything, you know, whatever, right? And generally, if you see my channel, generally, I'm a defender of the new things. Even the things that I can see pretty clear flaws in, I try to look on the more positive side of it, because it's like, I can't change it. It is what it is. So I have to just be able to live with it. And then I saw this, and I was like, you know what? I think everybody's in agreement here. This Galactic Starcruiser, which, by the way, is the $5,000 plus, you know, if you have more people, it's even more than $5,000 for 2 days to sleep in this. Essentially, it's just a hotel. You stay up for 2 days and you get, you know, all these experiences and stuff. And by the way, I believe 2 days is the max, so you pay $5,000. You can't extend it to 3 days, I don't think. I'm pretty sure it's like 2 days and then you have to leave. And first, the price was ridiculous, and that was the whole thing when that came out. And this trailer comes out here, like, okay, what is the $5,000? What is? We've seen the concept art. We've seen what it's supposed to look like, you know, concept-wise. What is all that money going towards? And everyone seems to be in agreement. This does not look good. It does not look good. It doesn't look like Star Wars. And I know that that seems like such a, you know, such a fanboy, like, that's not Star Wars, that's not the real Star, you know, it seems like such a stupid fanboy thing to say, but I think in this instance it's actually very true, because it feels like whatever happened here, they have distinctly missed the mark. And I do have a conspiracy that I will share with you. I have no basis at all for this conspiracy, but I'm gonna go ahead and share that with you at the end. Anyways, so yeah, just watching this trailer, which, by the way, this is not a reaction video. I'm not gonna, you know, this is just me talking. I've already seen this a couple times now because I had to like go back and look. So these two people are walking through the Starcruiser, and the first thing everyone noticed was these monitors and these, you know, like supposed control stations, which of course is just like a little prop with blinking lights and buttons and whatever to press, right? But the way they look, it doesn't look like anything we've seen in Star Wars. Not the original trilogy, not the sequels, not the prequels. It doesn't look like it came from the same universe. In fact, it looks very much like something that comes from a different franchise almost. I don't know if this is more Star Trek like, you know, maybe like 60s Star Trek. I don't know, but it doesn't quite look like what it's supposed to be. And then they keep going for, you know, in this video they show the concept art, and look at this concept art. That looks like Star Wars. And what I mean is, it's the small aesthetic things. Look at the edge of this table. Look how it's this metallic silver. Look at these buttons. See, it's like a big screen, and you got these, you know, sabacc colored, but like, my point is, it's the small things that make it look like Star Wars. The overhead light, you know, it's the details, it's the stylistic details. Okay, and oh, we're gonna get into the we're gonna get into the training in a little bit, but you know, you just see all these monitors behind them. I'm trying to see it. Oh, good shot of it. And even these walkways, like these lights up here, you can see there was like an attempt to kind of like hide them or something, but they just look like your normal lights that you'd see in a supermarket, you know, like they're just up there. And okay, I don't know, they put like these monitors here, but the frame around the monitors, the walls themselves, they don't quite look right. None of it looks like, it's almost like it was colored incorrectly. The color scheme is all wrong here. I don't know what exactly they did, but it doesn't quite look like the way it's supposed to. The ceiling, like this, the ceiling just looks like a normal Earth ceiling. It doesn't look like it's on a spaceship at all. You know, and my thing is, I know that these seems like maybe these are like ridiculous things to complain about, but collectively, all these small details, all these small ridiculous things that I'm pointing out, collectively they give off this weird vibe of like, this doesn't quite look like a Star Wars thing. And the reason that I especially would care in this instance is because, am I supposed to pay $5,000 for this? It's weird, to say the least. Even the bar here, and look, don't get me wrong, all, you know, there was an attempt here. I can tell, like, these lights, the lights are right. This right here, if you can see my mouse, the corner of the lights here, that is correct. That looks like Star Wars. Even the framing up here, that looks pretty good. That looks like almost some Jabba, you know, Jabba's palace type stuff going on. Some of these back canisters, the idea of the canisters is good, but I think, you know, the different colors and the lighting is kind of off. But the counter doesn't quite look like Star, you know, there's just, it looks like they almost had it here, but still not quite, you know. And it gets even weirder, you know, when you get into this performer who, I have nothing against the song itself and the person singing. This is not a judgment on that. In fact, I think even the costume works, you know, the headpiece, I think all that works. That works. But the song that they chose, especially I think because they made it an English, oh, I'm sorry, Galactic Basic song, you know, not English, but, you know, they made it a Galactic Basic song where she's talking about like, oh, over the horizon, the new world and all this stuff, right? I guess my thing is like, why would you not just make up an alien language song? Because most of the music that we've ever heard in Star Wars, like in the actual world playing music, most of it has all been pretty much in different alien languages. And you usually have like a little band playing along. Like, imagine how much that would have added if you take the exact same rhythm and the beats and all the same, like, you know, music, song stuff, and you just put it in an alien Twi'lek language, you know. Obviously you can kind of just make things up so it sounds good. You don't have to, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, that's not Klingon, right? Like, I don't give a shit about that, right? But like, you know, the effect of it being an alien language, and maybe even put like some animatronics back here that are, you know, doing the band thing, you know, the Cantina band, something like that. How much more would that have worked than this English worded song about going to space, which, you know, in Star Wars, they, what is that, going to space is not a big deal at all. They go to space to pick up a, you know, a loaf of bread. They got to go to space, you know. Like, I don't know, it seems weird that like you have a song dedicated to like, oh, we're going to a new world. It's like, yeah, you do that every day here, whatever. My point is, a lot of this doesn't quite look right, you know. It just, like this vent back here, that I think that's an Earth vent. That's like a human Earth vent. And it's especially weird when you look at the rest of the actual Galaxy's Edge. Look at this. Just look at this picture here. By the way, I went to Galaxy's Edge only a few months back, and it was amazing, by the way. But you see the details up here, all the little cables, all the vents, all the, you know, the whole ceiling thing here, all these tarps. And I kind of tweeted about this, about how Star Wars, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, they stick between generally two aesthetics. You know, maybe the prequels had their own aesthetics, you know, everything was much cleaner in the prequels, but in the original trilogy and in the sequels, they generally stick between the two things. You kind of have like your, you know, your used, rusted, grimy kind of look like you have here, and like you would have like in your rebel bases and stuff like that. And then you have your clean, like, you know, much more industrialized metal, silver, black, red. You know, you have your color schemes. You have your, like, your, even like, look at these monitors. See, like, look at these, all these computer monitors here, compared to the monitors they have here. Let me go back. Where's it at? Here, yeah. Like, compare those to, not that, to these, and it's like, I don't know, it's weird that, like, why didn't you make something that looks more like the Imperial side if you're going for that? My other thing is that, and this is also what I tweeted about, was like, if the idea, you know, if the idea is that, like, okay, well, this is a luxury liner, this is supposed to be for, you know, rich fancy people who are taking a vacation and they visit Batu. This is not supposed to be, you know, on the ground of Batu, because Batu is kind of like a backwoods, like, oh yeah, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere type thing, and obviously the Imperials are like their own militarized type thing. So if this is not supposed to be any of those, why not go for something similar to Canto Bight? Because, you know, it happens pretty rarely, but we have seen it. We have seen examples of, like, hey, this is kind of how the high class society dresses and the way they look and the way they're you know, even look at the tables and the detail here. Trying to find a better picture. Here you go. But, you know, like the way the counters look. Obviously, this is like a gambling thing. But even in the prequels, like, look, this is them. They're just traveling. Kind of very similar to the idea here, right? Very similar to the Galactic Starcruiser. This is when Anakin and Padme in Attack of the Clones, they're traveling to, you know, traveling back to Naboo undercover. Even, like, look at the little lunchroom that they made here. See the counter? See the little lights down here? Everything about this looks better than this thing. You know, and again, I realize it feels like I'm complaining about the small background details that don't really matter, but collectively, all the little details I'm pointing out here, it all makes it feel wrong. And that's really what we have here. We have an aesthetic problem. It doesn't feel like it was designed correctly, which is especially weird considering the concept art looks so amazing. Look at this. Look at this table. This table looks so much better than the monitors that they have over there. I don't know what happened. It's weird. Look at the ceiling. The ceiling doesn't look like a normal Earth ceiling. It looks like, yeah, we're in a spaceship. It looks like we're in a spaceship, you know? So that's all I'm trying to say, and I think that's what the point of a lot of people is trying to get across when they say it doesn't look like Star Wars, is that, like, aesthetically it just looks off. It doesn't look correct. Somehow your concept art got it right, but nothing else you did really did. Like, the doors look good, the ceiling's off, the lights are off, the walls I think are a little off. I don't know. And my point is, people are supposed to pay $5,000 to go to this. Galaxy's Edge does not even cost, you know, I maybe collectively parking and flying down there and all this stuff. But my point is, that is a very, very high price ticket for something that doesn't look like they tried nearly as much as they did with Galaxy's Edge. Galaxy's Edge, when I went there and I look up and I look in all the corners and I look in all the little, I look for all the small details way up here, I can tell that they cared and they put effort into it, and they, you know, they made sure that there was grime way up here on this tiny lamp that no one would ever look at except for me. And I'm like, yep, they care. They tried. Every single prop, every single tiny little thing looked the way it was supposed to look. It looks like Star Wars. It looks like a planet that people live in, and this just doesn't look like anything, you know? Like this, like the lighting here, everything about this looks better. Everything about this looks better. And obviously I know I'm comparing movie quality stuff to, you know, essentially a hotel, but again, $5,000 ticket, a Star Wars hotel, and this is what you made? It's kind of weird. And then I realized, let me get back to the monitors here. I realized that this reminded me of something. This reminds me of Space Mountain. Even the doors, even like the ceiling, the lighting, the way that the monitors and everything, the way it's all built and put together, the aesthetic of it, it all reminds me of Space Mountain. And I was like, oh my god, is this just Space Mountain? And I think it is. And look, and this is where I'm getting into my conspiracy. No basis for this at all. Nothing at all. But I have a feeling that at some point during production, at some point, this was gonna be a Space Mountain, Tomorrowland, you know, Tomorrowland type spin-off thing, you know? maybe. And obviously, hey, maybe I'm crazy wrong because it's not even near Tomorrowland, so that seems ridiculous now that I say it out loud. But my point is, it feels like this was made for something else. It feels like all of these props, all of this background stuff, they all have the aesthetic more like Tomorrowland, which would be more of an, like, this is what people in the 80s thought futuristic space travel might look like, you know what I mean? So that's basically what Tomorrowland and Space Mountain is, which, don't get me wrong, I love Space Mountain, it's awesome, but it's obviously distinctly different from Star Wars. And I think that's where people are having this huge disconnect, because it's like, this, you know, this clearly does not, it's not Star Wars. Just because it has space and it has robots and it has, like, you know, these giant screens with like space looking data on it, that doesn't automatically make it look like Star Wars. And that's what it feels like someone, whoever was in charge here, didn't quite get. You know, it looks like they went to Space Mountain and they're like, well, yeah, we'll just kind of copy that and we'll put it over here and we'll just kind of slap the Star Wars label on it, and there you go, it's Star Wars. It's all space stuff, right? And that's the thing. And once I noticed that it looked like Tomorrowland, I was like, oh my god, that feels like exactly what happened. Either this was supposed to be a Tomorrowland thing, or someone in the design department kind of got nostalgic for Tomorrowland and then saw this as like their opportunity to be like, let's bring all like the 80s style space stuff back. Star Wars was in the 80s, right? It's like, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, the movies came out in the 80s, some of them, but like, it's not this. there's clearly a difference in the way this looks, and then the way that this looks, you know. So I don't know. I think that's my thing, is that, like, obviously some people are gonna, like, you know, use this to attack Disney as a whole and the sequel trilogy and all this other stuff. My thing is that, like, I think in this one instance, this is a huge miss. This was like somebody somewhere did something wrong, you know. And hey, maybe we're all overreacting. Maybe it's way too early, because while some journalists did get to go to this Galactic Starcruiser, like maybe when we see full YouTube videos of the interiors and see everything actually happening in motion, maybe it'll look a lot better somehow. You know, I don't know how, but you know, maybe by then they'll have changed some things up. I don't know. But yeah, for right now, I don't know. There's like an aesthetic shift that was designed incorrectly. It feels like they made a lot of strange choices. You can tell by the lighting of some of this that they definitely tried. You know, someone was like, hey, shouldn't we put more Star Wars-y looking lights up? You know, and they managed to get their way at some points, but I don't know. A lot of this just feels off. It looks wrong. It looks like Tomorrowland. That's what it looks like to me. That's what it reminds me of. And that's not a good thing for a, you know, in order to get in there, you got to pay $5,000. I feel like I need to keep saying that because Jesus, you know, and you go in there and it doesn't look at all like what it's supposed to. Oh, and I didn't even talk about this here, by the way. And look, don't get me wrong, I understand that this is like probably for children, so I'm not going to judge this part too harshly because this is more of a child's aspect. But this is the lightsaber training, and essentially what it is it's just a little light. It's not exactly a laser, it's just a kind of a little sensor light. And you just hit the lightsaber in front of it. Look, woo, woo. And that's it, really. That's, you know, and the reason I bring this up at all, because again, I realize that is more for the children, not for the grown adults. You know, I understand that. The reason I bring that up is because that was like one of the big selling points of this hotel. One of the big, like, hey, this is like this awesome thing you're gonna get to do. You get to train with a lightsaber. You get to play sabacc. You get to eat food with the captain of the ship, which I always thought that was a weird one. Like, okay, eat food with the captain. You know, look at this. It's amazing. And look, don't get me wrong. I don't know what exactly I expected it to look like, but what they showed was pretty lame looking. You know, I have no idea what I expected to happen. You know, not like I expected anything to actually get shot at the lightsaber, but dang, that's disappointing the way it ended up. So I don't know. I guess my thing is this. This does not look like it's worth $5,000. The coolest thing about this is that all of the windows, every single window that you can see outside of, seems to be a giant LED screen where, you know, they're going to show space and planets moving, and I'm sure you're going to see some spaceships fly by and some battles happening, maybe stuff like that. And that seems cool. Like, that seems to be where a majority of the money went. You know, like, that seems to be like where all the money got put into, to have like one series of connected LED screens that looks like it's outside. And that is cool, but like a lot of the inside design stuff and the props and whatever you want to call this, you know, the fake little monitors, it's the small details that add up, and they really either sell something or they don't. I love the way the Galaxy's Edge looks. I love it. Every little detail was accounted for, and because of that, when I walk through areas like this, I'm like, oh yeah, this looks awesome and legit, and this is, you know, like I feel like, yeah, some Star Warsy type people live here. You know, this is a planet for real, you know. This feels like I'm on a ride. This feels like it's the 80s, and they wanted to make something about space, and they didn't have the license to anything, so they kind of had to make up their own thing. And this is the ride, and we're about to go on Space Mountain, and the Space Mountain roller coaster is really cool. So, you know, you kind of don't care about all this this other stuff, right? This Tomorrowland robot guy and whatever, right? You're here for the roller coaster. But the hotel doesn't have a roller coaster. It has a tiny sensor lightsaber training montage room. So I don't know. I guess my thing is, was I ever gonna go on the $5,000 hotel? Probably not for a very, very, very long time, if ever, because honestly, that is an unreasonable amount of money to ask for a 2-day stay. You know, like I would pay maybe $2,000 at the most, not $5,000 at the least. Anyways, so I don't know, guys. Maybe we're all overreacting. Maybe we're all like going crazy over nothing, right? Maybe the hotel itself will look better, and this just happens to be a really bad looking video. But I do feel like the fandom's reaction, crazy enough, the fandom's reaction this time was kind of, we're all on the same side, it feels like this time, because they didn't do it right. They didn't do such a good job, and that's very disappointing. And the fact that they're asking so much money to get on this, you know what? The good thing is the shiny, you know, what do you call it? The silver lining of whatever. The good thing is that I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I don't feel like, oh man, I can't afford to get on this hotel. I feel so bad. Only the rich people can get on it. Instead, now I'm more like, oh yeah, the rich people are gonna waste their money at whatever this is. It doesn't, you know, like, okay, let them spend their money, because I don't feel like I'm missing out. I really, really don't, to be honest with you. After seeing the lightsaber training, after seeing just what the hallways and the counters and everything else will look like, I don't think I'm missing out on anything, really. I really don't. You know, like, this is a hotel where the most impressive thing is looking outside the fake windows at these screens, watching space happen. Like, that's like the best thing about it. Everything else in the room doesn't look that great. It looks kind of cheap. It doesn't quite fit the aesthetic of Star Wars, really. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this. You know, again, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm just being a big baby and I'm crying about a hotel I was never going to go to anyways. But I don't know. This feels kind of like a loss for them. It feels like a big tumble, and like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Are they gonna lower the price of the tickets so people will go? No, they're never gonna do that. That was a joke. They're never gonna do that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you disagree. If you think, no, this looks like Star Wars, I don't see it at all. I'm sorry. If you think this looks like Star Wars, let me know. I don't see it. It doesn't, you know, looking at every era, looking at every comparison I could think of, this doesn't look like anything. It just looks like Tomorrowland. So I don't know what to tell you guys. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.